Even though we cannot change people, and it is also not advisable to try to change a man or someone, what we can do is acting ourselves in a certain way and subtly encourage gentlemanly behavior and treatment through our actions and attitudes. So that's what this video is going to be about. Stay until the end. I will have tons of helpful tips. And we will start with advice number 1, the power of positive reinforcement. So many of you might know that positive reinforcement is generally a very good method to inspire people to do certain things and repeatedly do them. It's a method that is used in education for children, it is used in pet training, in dog training, and I don't want to compare dog training now, even though, well, let's not open this topic, but this is something that we, also women, men and women in general, people are very sensitive to, positive reinforcement. So you can use positive reinforcement to inspire gentlemanly behavior in men that are not used to it, or have simply not been educated that way and are not doing it that much. So, first thing that you can do with regard to positive reinforcement would be verbal praise. So every time a man does something chivalrous, you can react in a very positive way. For example, a man holds the door open for you or helps you with a coat. Then you use verbal praise and say, "Thank you, that was really kind of you." Or you can also be a little bit charming and say, "Oh, what a gentleman, I like that," or "Oh, I feel like a lady with you," or something like that. And another thing with regard to positive reinforcement is you could also give positive feedback. So this is what I already included. You can combine that or simply say, when a man does something that you like, you can compliment him on his gentlemanly behavior. So for example, you can say, "I really appreciate how considerate you are." And those things usually will work, at least if the person is someone who likes to be appreciated, who likes to make you happy, who likes to be a gentleman in the end. And the other tip with regard to positive reinforcement would be to reciprocate. And this is also always advisable, to reciprocate the kindness, either by mirroring his actions. So when a man opens the door for you and is considerate, you can also reflect this consideration to other people and hold the door for someone else. I mean, holding the door is not something that only men can do. But of course, if you are a lady and you are with a man, then it is the job of the gentleman. Or small gestures from your side, thoughtfulness in return. Simple acts such as offering an umbrella or maybe preparing his favorite drink. And by the way, my tips, they are not only tailored to relationships or dating, they can be used for all kinds of men and all kinds of relationships that you are in. Even at work or in friendships, etc. Now let's go on to tip number 2. Lead by example. And this is another tip that can be also applied in other areas of life, and it actually always works, also with children, works very well. And that's by, for example, exuding elegance and grace. If you maintain a polite and gracious demeanor, you will lead by example, because you yourself will be a lady. And what's the reciprocal for a lady? A gentleman. So your own refinement can inspire the others around you to rise to the occasion. So the other thing with regard to leading by example is having good manners. If you always display impeccable manners, such as always saying thank you, making eye contact, listening attentively, your actions and your manners will also set a standard for how other people or those men should be treating you. What you can also do is communicate expectations. So of course you can also, especially if you're in a relationship with the person, express your preferences. You should do it in a gentle and positive way. You don't know why this person acts the way they act or don't act gentlemanlike. It might be that they are simply not educated in that way, or there are also other reasons for why men are not gentlemanlike. Women who are extreme feminists and interpret feminism by rejecting all kinds of helpful and chivalrous behavior, and then there are men that are simply unsure what to do. So there are several reasons, and that's why sometimes it is helpful to express your preferences and take away this insecurity in some men, if this is the reason why they don't act gentlemanlike. So you can simply say, oh, I always appreciate when someone offers help with my coat. And also you can give subtle hints. And those hints are in general advisable. For example, if you are going towards a door, you can stop in front of the door without rushing first. If you are at a restaurant, sometimes it happens to me that I'm too fast too, but if you want to inspire chivalrous behavior, you can simply be a little bit slower and give the man the opportunity to help you with the jacket or with the coat or with the chair or open the door. It's a small hint to wait. But if you don't give the hint or the opportunity, then, I mean, it's a little bit also your fault if you are too forward and too fast with helping yourself. Now we come to the tip number 3, which is encourage and empower. What does that mean? It means, for example, asking for help. You can be a little bit proactive in order to inspire chivalry, and especially in nowadays world. As I have just explained, many men are simply either not educated in that way anymore, did not have good role models, or misinterpret feminism, or are afraid that women react negatively. And then the small percentage of men who is simply lazy and does not have that in them or is unattentive. But as I said, I'm here focused on the 90% of men in which you can inspire chivalry. And making a request in a polite and feminine way is totally okay. Sometimes men don't realize when their help is needed. And in that situation, you could simply ask for assistance, like carrying a heavy bag, for example. Of course, we as women love if men are attentive and proactive, but as I said, sometimes it can help to push a little bit in the right direction or just ask for help. But don't do it in a rude or demanding way, because I have also encountered that is never like encouraging or positive. And also acknowledge the efforts. So when he helps, then acknowledge the effort, thank him, positive reinforcement, etc. Also, another tip, create opportunities. So you can use social settings for that. For instance, participate or arrange social settings that encourage chivalrous behavior, like dinners, dances, etc. Those settings automatically bring out more gentlemanly behavior. You might have noticed that too. I at least have noticed that with several men. If they are in a specific setting that is already kind of maybe more elegant, maybe more traditional, like a gala or like a ball or something like that, men will usually, and if you are nicely dressed in a gown or in a dress, then usually this also encourages gentlemanly behavior. So if you like that, you should spend more time in those settings. And also you can engage in activities that require cooperation, like volunteering, etc. Things that require helping each other. And there his helpfulness can shine. The next step is respectful communication. And the first part would be open dialogue, so discussing values. Of course, this is more something for relationships, because here it goes a little bit deeper, but you can of course communicate your values and also share what you appreciate in a gentleman. You can also share stories of chivalrous behavior that you admire, for example. But what is also important is mutual respect. So chivalrous behavior also has a lot to do with respect. But this respect should also come from your side. Simply foster a relationship that is based on mutual respect and treat the man with the same respect and consideration that you wish to receive. So value his time, be punctual and reliable, attentive. Those are things that show respect. But if you do that and the person still doesn't treat you with the same respect, well, we will come to that later. That might be a hopeless case. But let's continue with the positivity. What can you do? What usually works? Another tip is constructive feedback. Offering a little bit of gentle guidance also belongs to open communication, and especially in a closer relationship, you can do that. If you encounter ungentlemanly behavior, you can say, I feel more comfortable when you ... instead of course, criticizing directly. And now the next tip that is also useful is cultivating an environment of chivalry. You can use the positive, so to say, positive influencers from your social circles that will also positively influence this man that you would like to behave more chivalrous. If you surround yourself with people who are gentlemanlike, who act chivalrous, this positive environment can naturally inspire a man to act more gentlemanly. And also being in communities that share those values of mutual respect, of consideration, traditional values, reinforcing the importance of chivalry. I can assure you that if the man has a little bit of ego and self-respect, being in an environment where everyone or every other man behaves chivalrous, gentlemanlike, the man who is not used to that will usually step up to that behavior, and because he doesn't want to make himself look like, you know, negatively. And he will also see that this is the standard in that social circle. So this is also something that you can put a little bit more attention to, that if you are really a woman who values chivalry and gentlemanlike behavior, then also surround yourself with people who share those values. One can say that by showing appreciation, leading by example, and fostering an environment of respect and consideration and kindness, you can subtly inspire chivalrous behavior and gentlemanly behavior in men that are usually not used to that, or usually not that chivalrous naturally. So I have heard different things and also experienced. The thing is that there are several reasons, as I already mentioned, for why men are not behaving chivalrous or gentlemanly. But most of the reasons, as I have already mentioned, are not that severe, and they will not hold a man back from stepping up to that behavior, because actually it is very rewarding to behave chivalrous. If you're a man and watching that, and you can comment on that, of course. But I think that as a man, if you are a gentleman and you see how much a woman enjoys that and how it also makes her feel like a lady and behave like a lady, it is simply something positive. So who doesn't like that? And that's why I think that even a man who has not been raised in that way, maybe due to education, due to their own parents that were not behaving like that, or due to their culture, due to the lack of a role model, or due to experiences, bad, negative experiences, or simply misinformation, those men will still enjoy being chivalrous because they get a reward for it, a positive reaction, a positive enforcement, etc. And then there are men who did not have all of that and they are still chivalrous because it's in their nature, because they are by nature attentive, helpful, very respectful towards women. And this is, of course, a wonderful combination for those men. I mean, this video is not for those men because they will be like that anyway. But in this case, the chivalry comes from their personality. So either they have learned it or not learned it, or it comes from their nature. Or, and that's the small part of men that my tips will not work with, or at least they won't work on the long run, or not all of them, are the men who are simply not attentive, not educated in that way, not interested in being a gentleman, and a little bit lazy. It's an effort to get up and open the door. It's an effort to open your car door. It's an effort to stand up first and get the coat. If a man is by nature very lazy, and is not educated that way, and is not attentive and not putting a lot of importance in making you feel at ease and like a lady, then it might be then that those tips help for a few times or for a few situations, but it will always be kind of forced on the man, and he will forget about it in other situations again because it's not in his nature and it's not rewarding for him. But for the majority, they will. Remember, the key is to encourage and uplift and to create a space where chivalry can thrive naturally. That would be the optimum. So if you liked that video and it was helpful for you, I would be very happy about a thumbs up. I'm not usually doing a lot of topics that have to do with men or relationships, but if you found that interesting and you would like to see more behavioral things with regard to men, let me know down below in the comments. Give me your suggestions, your requests. I'm reading all the comments and I'm looking forward to see you again, so subscribe and click the notification bell. Bye bye!